Miss Jiang had no idea that a routine afternoon of tidying up would unfold into one of the most frightening experiences of her life. At 53, living in the peaceful surroundings of Hubei province in central China, she was known by her neighbors for her independence and devotion to keeping her home spotless. That day was no different. She picked up her broom, swept the floors, scrubbed the counters, dusted the corners, and moved furniture from one side of the room to another, completely immersed in the rhythmic pace of cleaning. For nearly 2 hours straight, she worked without pause. Her hands, already roughened from years of housework, developed a few minor cuts, nothing unusual, nothing alarming. She barely noticed them. Tiny scrapes were part of life, and she had always trusted her body to recover without fuss. What Miss Jiang didn't realize was that something dangerous had quietly slipped through one of those tiny breaks in her skin. 2 days later, she noticed something strange. The bruises on her fingers were growing darker, not healing. She rubbed her hands with ointment and wrapped them lightly, hoping they would feel better by morning. But the next day, the darkness had spread. The tips of her fingers had turned a deep, unnatural shade of black. Only her left thumb and right pinky remained their normal color. The rest looked like they were being swallowed by shadow. She tried to move them, but her joints felt stiff. Her skin, once warm and soft, had grown cold and hard. Fear crept in. Worried but trying to stay calm, she went to a nearby clinic. The doctor examined her fingers and, after a tense silence, gave her the diagnosis. Gangrene. The word felt heavy, as if the air had been sucked out of the room. The infection had spread beneath her skin, killing tissue from the inside. Her own body was turning against itself, and if she waited any longer, she risked losing parts of her hand entirely. She was rushed to a larger hospital where a team of specialists took over. They ran tests, cleaned the wounds, and began aggressive treatment. She was lucky, they told her. The infection had progressed quickly, but not so far that all hope was lost. Still, the road ahead was uncertain. Would her fingers recover fully, or would she have to make peace with permanent damage? For now, all they could do was wait, monitor, and hope. Lying in the hospital bed, Miss Jiang replayed the past few days in her mind. How could something as ordinary as cleaning her home turn into this nightmare? She thought about the cuts, the brushes with soap and dust, the sharp corners of furniture she had wiped without gloves. The gangrene had not announced itself with fanfare. It had crept in quietly and struck with vicious speed. Her hands, tools she had relied on all her life, had become battlegrounds. Doctors explained that conditions like diabetes or poor circulation could make someone more vulnerable to infections like gangrene. If a person's immune system is compromised or blood flow is limited, wounds don't heal properly, and the risk of tissue death increases. Even a seemingly harmless injury can become dangerous if ignored or untreated. Miss Jiang didn't know if she had an underlying condition. She had never needed to worry before, but now her perspective had changed. Every hour in the hospital was filled with anxious waiting. Nurses checked her progress. She watched the color of her skin carefully, hoping to see signs of pink returning. Her family visited, their eyes wide with concern but filled with quiet encouragement. Miss Jiang tried to smile, to show them she was not giving up. She didn't like feeling helpless. She had always been strong, always in control. Now she had to trust others to fight for her. Her body began to respond. The darkest spots stopped spreading. The inflammation eased. Doctors grew more optimistic. With continued treatment, she might avoid amputation altogether. The worst seemed to be over, but her recovery would take time. She would need patience, physical therapy, and constant monitoring to ensure the infection never returned. News of her ordeal spread through the neighborhood. Friends and neighbors were stunned. How could something so simple become so serious? Miss Jiang's story became a lesson for them all. People started paying closer attention to minor wounds. They bought gloves for cleaning. They began washing cuts and applying antiseptics immediately. The story served as a powerful reminder. Not all danger comes loudly. Sometimes it whispers. Miss Jiang eventually left the hospital, walking slowly but with renewed strength. Her hands were wrapped gently in bandages. She returned to her home, to the room she had cleaned so carefully. Everything looked the same, but nothing felt the same. She had nearly lost her fingers, perhaps even more, to something she never saw coming. She now wears gloves when she cleans. She pays attention to every scratch, every mark. She visits the clinic regularly. She tells her friends what happened, not for sympathy, but so they never face what she did. Her scars are a reminder not of weakness, but of survival. She faced a quiet enemy and fought back. Miss Jiang's story is not just about illness, it is about awareness. It is about how life can shift in the blink of an eye and how strength can emerge in unexpected ways. Her courage, her quick decision to seek help, and the care she received saved her hands. Her willingness to speak about it might save others. So the next time you clean your home, and your skin bears the smallest nick, remember the lesson Miss Jiang learned the hard way. Watch closely. Listen to your body. Even the quietest signals matter. Life doesn't always give second warnings. Sometimes it just gives you a second chance.